Well guys, Halloween may have officially come and gone, but I'm still keeping the spirit of the season alive by watching a ton of clips from spooky movies and TV shows. And even though we've seen tons of different movies featuring tons of different creatures and killers over the years, when it comes to Halloween, it's hard to picture anyone better representing the holiday than one of John Carpenter's creations, the William Shatner-faced psycho himself, Michael Myers. Regardless of whatever Halloween timeline you're a fan of, regardless of whether or not he's just some creepy guy or if he's powered up by a crazy cult, I think we can all agree that the movies have always shown Michael as an absolute powerhouse, capable of both withstanding and dishing out tons of punishment. He's been shown decapitating people with his knife, nearly ripping somebody's jaw off, apparently surviving car crashes and explosions, and disappearing in the time it takes someone to briefly glance away. He's even figured out how to drive a car at some point, despite spending most of his life locked up in a mental asylum. For real though, who taught him how to drive? Seriously though, after spending a bunch of time watching through the series and after finally checking out the newest movie, I had to ask, exactly how powerful is Michael Myers? Well, let's take a look and find out. By the way, I will be including some mild spoilers for the new Halloween movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, consider yourselves warned. First, let's start with his strength. Now, like pretty much every other giant mute serial killer, Michael's casually ragdolled a bunch of dudes over the course of the Halloween series, which, as I've covered in a few other videos, means Michael can casually mess around with weights equal to about 195 pounds, or about 88 kilograms. Even better though was that time in the first Halloween, when Michael managed to pick up and move his sister's tombstone around. Comparing the size of Judith's tombstone to the size of real-world tombstones, and assuming this one's made of granite, meaning it has a density of about 2.7 grams per cubic centimeter, then Michael was probably lugging around something that weighed about 326 pounds or 148 kilograms. Now that's cool and all, but you should probably also take this feat with a grain of salt. I mean, we did see Michael driving around a good bit in this movie, so it's not exactly a stretch to assume that he just popped the tombstone in the back and drove it around instead of carrying it everywhere. But still, lifting almost 330 pounds is pretty cool. Even cooler though is when we've seen Michael absolutely wreck a couple people's skulls in all of the series timelines. Hell, he even broke one with his finger once. And according to neurosurgeon Tobias Matei, Michael would have to generate more than 1,100 pounds of force, or 500 kilograms of force, to fracture even the thinnest parts of a human skull. That shouldn't even be possible, and Michael's over here just casually sticking his finger in people's heads. Keep in mind, this also extends to his stomping power, given that he was able to completely explode a dude's head in the newest movie. Probably one of the best strength feats we've gotten out of Myers so far though, are all those times we saw him smash through doors. Seriously, he was even able to rip a big chunk out of one once in Halloween 6. How strong would he have to be to rip apart a door? Well, the standard dimensions for an interior wooden door would give it a volume of about 61,947 cubic centimeters, and obviously I'm not entirely sure what kind of wood every door he's ever smashed through is made of, but considering how common it is in door construction at least, I'd think it's safe to assume that Michael's capable of smashing through oak, which requires 148 kilojoules per cubic meter, or 0.148 joules per cubic centimeter, to break. Doing the math tells us that, for Michael to smash through an oak door, he'd be capable of generating about 9,168 joules, or about 935 kilograms of force. That's almost twice as much force as Michael was putting into his skull-crushing feat, and he was able to put that much force into a single punch. Damn! You know what's just as cool though? How fast Michael actually is.
You serious?
No, seriously, this dude's actually pretty quick on his feet, despite the fact that he usually just casually walks around everywhere. Probably the fastest we've ever seen Michael though was in Halloween 4, when he casually dodged gunfire from Dr. Loomis, something we know actually happened and wasn't just a figment of Loomis's imagination or something, since Michael also attacked the gas station attendant before Loomis saw him and managed to cause an explosion on his way out. So how fast was he actually moving? Well, considering how Loomis's gun looks like an M1991, which has a muzzle velocity of 253 meters per second, and assuming that the distance between Loomis and Michael is about 10 to 15 feet, or 4 meters, then that would mean Michael would only have about 20 milliseconds, or 0.02 seconds, to get out of the way of the bullets. Assuming he's about 1.5 feet away from being able to move out of view completely, this would put Michael's speed at about 56 miles an hour, or 90 kilometers an hour. Wait, he can move almost 60 miles an hour? Seriously? He was able to move twice as fast as Usain Bolt, but he's just always walking everywhere? What the fuck? As far as his durability goes, there's really not a whole lot we can throw numbers at here. I mean, sure, Michael has taken a lot of punishment over the course of all 3 timelines, including stabbings, shootings, beatings, and being set on fire, among other things, and still managed to keep coming back in one piece, but at the same time, bullets aren't exactly bouncing off of him. If you stab him or you shoot him, it'll put him down like any other person, at least for a little bit. On the other hand though, Michael rarely ever reacts like any of these things actually hurt, so there's that at least. Now I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to argue that I should do some some kind of calculation on the explosions Michael apparently tanked in both Halloween 2, where Loomis apparently sacrifices himself in a big gas explosion to stop Michael, or Halloween 4, where the police drop dynamite down a mine shaft to take him out. But here's the thing. Halloween 4 pretty much retconned the Halloween 2 explosion by letting Loomis survive too, so considering how a normal old man managed to survive a point-blank gas explosion pretty much unscathed, I don't really see the point in examining it. As far as the mineshaft explosion goes, the beginning of Halloween 5 actually showed that Michael already escaped the mineshaft by the time the police dropped that stick of dynamite, so he wasn't even anywhere near the blast in the first place. As far as I'm concerned, the only solid quote-unquote durability feat Michael has is his near instantaneous regeneration / immortality. Pretty much like every other movie murderer, no matter what you throw at him, no matter what you stab him with, no matter what window he falls out of, Michael always ends up getting back up in the end, sometimes within seconds. That's awesome! And keep in mind, all of this is pretty much just scraping the surface of Michael's power. The newest movie reinforces most of Michael's earlier feats and gives him some pretty cool new ones, like moving decent distances before getting picked up by a motion detecting light in a sequence similar to Lights Out, the aforementioned jaw rip, and even potentially surviving a big house fire. Speaking of, I know the movie leaves it a little ambiguous as to whether or not Michael's finally been killed, but given his previous history, I'd say it's pretty likely we'll see the psychotic killer come back for yet another sequel at some point in the future. After all, it doesn't matter how strong or how safe you think you are, the boogeyman will never stop, and he will always come back. But anyways guys, that's my take on how powerful Michael Myers is. If you guys agreed with anything I said in this video, or if you have your own calculations you want to throw out there, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to let me know what you dressed up as for Halloween. I want to see who had the best costume out of everybody who watches my videos. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and click that like button, and if you're new, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button too. I've also got links to my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon in the description. You should probably check those out too. And if you want to see more of my content, then you can click the link to my last video. It's right there in the middle of your screen. Alright, and I will see you all next time.